Yo, it's the Sauce Kid Official, man. I'm rocking my man Nick at hardknocktv. Keep it locked, you heard?
Can't get by. Long as they gon' pay me in advance, I'm fine. My little got that 30 in advance, I'm fine. She tell me she love a trap nigga getting fly.
How has having a son shaped you?
People were like, yo, when you have this kid, it's gonna just change your whole life. And you're just gonna start looking at life like, that never happened to me, guys. I'm sorry. It just, that didn't happen. But what did happen is as my son gets older, right, and as he begins to form words and begins to form real emotion for things that he can see and he can understand and that I can understand that he's actually forming emotion for, now that is in play, makes me like more so feel how I felt. I didn't feel like different when he was like born, or like I didn't cry, or like all this. I don't know. Me and my baby mother were laughing. Like I was cracking jokes. It was really weird. I don't know how she was doing it. She was cracking jokes with me like 5 minutes before he was born. He was born in like, I swear he was born in like 3 minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just came out. He was chilling. And it wasn't like, I don't know, I didn't feel like, it's just now that as he gets older, I start to look at it like, all right, he's starting to understand things, and like he's starting to repeat things. And like this is when it's starting to matter, like the things that I'm gonna tell him, are gonna really actually mean something to him, because he's gonna take them and he's gonna say them until they actually become real to him,
Now you're at a point where you see that things are actually shaping him. It's like, I've heard that some people like, yeah, baby's born and they feel different, but a lot of people, it's like once they turn 2, 3, 4, when they start talking, walking, acting like you, sharing things that they learned in school, whatever, that's when you're like, oh, like I have to protect them, or I have to influence them,
exactly. Like, because then you got to think about all the things that they learned in school, and not everybody's view is the same as yours. I'm not saying everybody else's view is wrong, but not everybody's view is the same. And in this world moving at the rate that it's moving at, the attention span of kids not being the way it used to be, it's like, it's only so much that your kid can really handle as far as like on a day-to-day basis, or the amount of stuff that he's seeing and the amount of things that he's taking in. It's only so much that you could even curate and be like, yo, don't watch this and don't watch this. Like the world has turned into a place where it's like things are just everywhere. Like you just nigga, you go on Cartoon Network, nigga, you might see some crazy shit. Like shit is just crazy. So it comes to a place where now you have to look at your children and be like, like I said, you have to ask yourself the deciding decision. Like, do I let him go out into the world, or do I, try to shield him? And then it's even worse for guys like me, because it's like, do I let him go to public school knowing that his dad is me, or do I send him to private school? But then he might be a brat. And at the end of the day, it's like, yo, I can't have him around those brats because I wasn't a brat. Like, you dig what I'm saying? No matter who my dad was. So it's like, but at the same time, it's like, but then do I bring him to public school where it's like I'm a rapper and some things could happen to him, and like, it's like, it's like you don't really know. But that's because the world is the place that it is now. Things come with time, and as you get older, I'm sure, you make the right decisions, and you just say either like, all right, fuck it, man, I'm sending him to public school, man, or I'm sending him, to private school, or whatever, maybe this is just best for him, and I gotta stop thinking about what I had as a, I
don't even have a kid, and I think about that all the time, because I'm like, my struggle is what made me who I am. I'm like, if this kid,
like how is he gonna struggle like that? It's right. Like, I can't let him struggle like that. There's no way I can have him in the house fighting niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I can't have this kid growing up like me, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then I realized, like, there's just other ways that you can learn that. Like, if my dad is a very incredible person to me, but, when I was younger, like, maybe if he wasn't always traveling, or like, had other things to do, maybe there would have been, he taught me so many principles, but maybe would have been a little bit more principles that maybe I would have known, or maybe I would have, went with him. Maybe there was just a different way of me learning certain things, opposed to me having to, get to a certain place with certain people to learn. And I look at my son the same way. Like, maybe if I just teach him the principles from early and, put him in boxing class. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he knows how to throw his duke up if he has to. Opposed to, like, him having to live with these guys who's just gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, your upbringing is how you were raised and why you got to the place you are. And, you know, you got to decipher how much of that you show your child and how harsh of reality you give to your child when it comes to that.
That's real. Let's talk a little bit about the new album. There's a line in there in Miami where you talk about smoking is the only way you find peace.
Oh yeah, I said the only time I feel at peace is when I'm dumb high, and people ask me why I smoke so many blunts. I'm a very avid smoker, you know, but I'm also somebody who kind of fights against it at the same time. Like I kind of go through like a conflict of like, you know, just like I think a lot of people who fight addictions and things that they got going on in their life. And really what it comes down to is like, it's really a mental awareness thing, right? And it's like, you know, when you say mental awareness, everyone's like, oh, mental awareness, oh, shut up. But in all reality, it's like, it's a mental awareness thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just aware of the fact that like sometimes I could be dependent on weed. And to the point where it's like, maybe if I wasn't so dependent, I'd be able to find peace by just like finding something that balances me out. But because I've been dependent on weed so long, and I smoke back to back. So it's like, I find the peace in relaxing and going, you know what I'm saying? When I'm mad, you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's maybe the act of smoking or if it's the feeling, but I don't really get high like that no more because I smoke so much. So it's like, I feel like it takes me a certain amount of like weed for me to just feel like,
I think we live in a society where it's hard to find peace, especially as an artist, because you're constantly around people. People expect you to put on a certain persona in front of the cameras and all that. So like when I heard that line, I was like, man, this reminds me of Mac. He had to resort to certain things to find his peace. That's why when I heard that song, I was like, man, I want to talk about this because I feel like there isn't necessarily a lot of platforms for artists to be able to talk about mental awareness and just
it's mental awareness, honestly. Like I think that our whole generation isn't as mentally aware as we should be. You know what I'm saying? Like the behavior of a lot of people in this day and age, they're mental health problems. Like they're like mental disorders. It's not like, nah, this guy's just stupid. Nah, the thing about it is when you say mental awareness, people think like, you know, somebody that's in a special ed class or somebody that, you know, has a disability or like, you know, somebody has Down syndrome or like, you know, people think in this weird way when it's like, no, mental awareness is it's like literally just like, why you do certain things, you know, why your habits are a certain way, why do you react to things. Maybe you're really actually mad about some shit that you just don't even know that you're mad about. So you take it out on in this certain way where every time you see somebody you laugh a certain way. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just with things that like if you were mentally aware you would know, okay, this is why I do this. So, you know, maybe I could stop doing X, Y, Z for the result of A, B, C to happen, you know. But there's not enough of that. There's not a lot of that. And so like, you know, I encourage everybody who's watching this, like, to, like, always check on your mental, like, health and, like, your state of mind, at least, you know. And that's something, like, I had to learn. I learned recently, you know, from my baby mother. She was the first person who really came here and was like, yo, you know, why do you always da-da-da-da? And maybe, like, it really comes down to, and she kind of really broke it down because she's somebody who really pays attention to a lot of that stuff. And she really broke it down to me and was just like, maybe the reason why you go at this is because it's something that has to do with da-da-da-da-da-da, and then, you know. Just things like that, like I've learned, you know.
For people watching who are like, all right, I want to check my mental awareness, what steps would you recommend? Like, what work for you?
I mean, it depends about going to like, you know, the extremes or not. I mean, I think that you could go to like therapy, you know, with somebody who's like who understands, who really is gonna understand, and like, you know, even like people who do neurology and stuff like that as well, like for your brain, and like, cause there's real actual like things that happen in our brains that we don't even understand, like, and it's like, yo, you feel this way because like, yo, you did some shit and your brain received it as, you know what I'm saying? And like the thing is like if you know those things, you can stop those things. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't have to be depressed. They're going to the doctor for all these things. I feel this way, da-da-da-da. And it's not always the doctor. It's somebody who handles mental health and mental like awareness. Like it's not the doctor who's gonna cure you for a cough. That guy's just like you and me. You know what I'm saying? He just got his degree, and you know what I'm saying? That doesn't make him expert in brain science or nothing, like, you know what I'm saying? Or if you want to take it a little further, you know, there's certain treatment centers and stuff like that where you can actually go learn. Like you go for 30 days, it kind of feels like rehab, but at the end of the day, like, you know, you're not in a straitjacket. Like, you know, they just kind of talk to you and stuff like that. Like they got one in Arizona. There's a lot of spots. You know, there's a lot of places that you can go check on your health mentally.
I'm glad you taking the time to talk about it, because I feel like for so long in hip hop, like talking about depression, talking about it was just so taboo. It's like everybody always had to be like indestructible, and I feel like now the new generation's kind of like, hey, like it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be depressed.
I think everybody has emotions. You know, for a long time, the game, especially just like with like urban like hip hop and stuff, everybody's thing was like this back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And like now that there's a lot of, and it sucks to say it like this, but now there's a lot of more, you know, drug influence on a lot of the kids too. There's a lot more depressive things coming out, sad music, music that people feel like, yo, I can relate to this because I be feeling the same way that this guy feels when he says he pops 3 Xans in the morning and he da-da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? And like because of that, there is a wide dosage of kids that are coming down every day. You know what I'm saying? That feel like, yo, I'm depressed today. I want to listen to some sad music. I want to drown in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? But I think that all, like I said, it all comes from a state of like your mental and like understanding where you are mentally, you know?
So I feel like we've been talking about a lot of serious stuff. This album that you just put out is actually a much lighter album. It feels like it's a vibe. Is that kind of reflective of where you are with your life right now?
I didn't want to go about like all my albums like they're just like these albums, like, you know, like when you put the word album there, it's like, yo, I gotta go about this like Jay-Z's first album, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, I gotta go about this like how I want to go about this, bro, and I just gotta feel good doing it. And that's what this album was about. It was like, I started creating these records that I just felt good about, like, yeah, like, you know? And because of that, made me just want to make more records like that, and we started creating this project that sounded so musical, and it just sounded like you said, like it was a vibe, but it was also the first time that I just felt like my music was just like in just pure color. Like you know, there's certain people in life that they hear music in color. Pharrell is one of those people. John Legend's one of those people. From what I heard, I might be wrong.
No, you're right.
But and it's like this thing where they see music in color, and like my nephew has it. He'll listen to music, and like when music is perfectly in tune, it's like you'll see like you'll see him just kind of stuck, like, and it's like, but if someone hits a pitch off, it's like it fucks with him, like, you know what I'm saying? He sees it in color, like he'll say it like, yo, I see it in color, like, and there's only certain people that have that, and I felt like this music was colorful. You know, I felt like I seen the music in color for the first time, and not because I wasn't spitting or I wasn't, you know, doing something that I didn't do on the last album or anything like that. It just felt colorful.
Tell me a little bit about, I mean, I don't want to call it near-death experience, but it sounded like from when I was hearing you talk about it, take me back to that place. You're in a plane, all of a sudden it starts dropping. Like, what's going through your mind?
I was one of those dudes who like always been like the plane goes like this, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm one of those scared dudes, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm very scared of, like, not anymore as much as I used to be, but like, grew up very like, I don't like heights, and I don't like feeling like it's uncontrollable when I'm that high in the air, because I don't like that feeling of dropping. The autopilot shut off like at 39,000 feet and went down to 11,000 feet in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And we caught the autopilot, reconnected at 11,000 feet. If there was 30 more seconds, we'd have been dead. So like the plane, and like when we were going down into turbulence, we fell into like a Category 3 storm, which is also like what made our plane go down even faster. So it was just like, he was there. We was all, it was scary, bro. It was like, yeah, it was scary. It was scary, man. You know what I'm saying?
Does your mind have room for any other thoughts, or you're just like, oh shit, am I gonna die? Do you start thinking about like
I was praying to God, and I just kept saying for some reason, I was like, I know I'm not going out like this. Like, I kept saying to myself, like, I know you're not gonna let me go out like this. Like, I know this is not what you have planned for me. Like, I know this is not my fate. I just kept saying it, and I was just like God, you have the plane, like, you're protecting the plane right now. And as much as it got scarier and scarier to say that, each time it kept dipping and dipping and going lower, I just had to keep saying it, like, yo, you got the plane, like, have faith, you have the plane, like, it just caught back at 11,000 feet, dog. You know what I'm saying? It caught right back at 11,000 feet, like,
So the plane catches back, then what's going through your head? Are you like, I got a second chance? Are you going like, are you just feeling blessed and grateful? Are you thinking like, I want to change things? Are you thinking like, what am I going to do when I get off this plane? Like, what's going through your mind at that time?
I was just thinking about my son. Just like, yo, like how am I gonna, just never gonna see him again, like, you know what I'm saying? Just going down. Just felt like, yo, he was gone, like he was about to die, like, it was bad, like, yo, it was bad. It was bad, it was real bad. And then I remember I got off stage, I had a panic attack, and I started to perform at Summer Jam, so I was like performing at Summer Jam, and like my whole chest was just like tight, and I couldn't breathe.
So you got off the plane and had to perform right away?
I had to run straight to Summer Jam.
Damn.
That was where I was trying to get there so fast for. On the flight here, we were in some turbulence that was crazy. Like it just felt like I felt like I was about to jump in the same shit. It's fucked up now. Cause now every time I get into turbulence, I think like the real situation's about to happen again. Like, so it's just like, you know.
It's dope that you're able to find a positive in it.
Yeah, it is what it is. It made the project, and you know the project went #1.
You work with Mika on the album. Are you also working on another project with him?